Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking to you about twins. So, random question, has anyone ever seen Star Wars Attack of the Clones? Basically, it's when the Jedi army form, or not the Jedi army, the Jedi form an army by cloning one man. And that only happens in movies, right? Well, it actually happens to moms who are expecting twins. So for the most part, I think everyone knows what a twin is, but if you don't, then I'm about to tell you who these people are. Right now I'm actually dating a twin, so I've been very familiar with them, and I've known multiple sets over the years. And I often get asked the question of how do you tell one apart from the other? And well, you really just have to know each person for who they are. But anyways, I'm going to be talking to you about the two different types of twins, how they're formed, and how they're individuals. So to get us started, I'll talk about the two different types of twins, and the two most common types are identical and fraternal. And according to Pregnancy, Birth, and Baby.org, fraternal twins are also known as dizygotic twins or non-identical twins. This means they can either be the opposite sex, the same sex, or not look alike at all like identical twins do. And referencing the same source, identical twins are also known as monozygotic twins. So this simply means that they are the same sex and are genetically identical. So I will show you some twins. So here we have identical and fraternal twins. We know the Olsen twins are identical because they look exactly alike and are the same sex. And here we have Scarlett Johansson and her brother. They are considered fraternal because they're obviously the opposite sex of each other. And maybe they look alike, but I don't know. So those are the two kinds of twins. Moving on, I'm going to talk to you about how they're formed. So although they're birthed at the same time, they do have different ways of being formed. So getting into that, according to the Washington State Twin Registry, identical twins start to develop into an embryo, but at some point during the first 2 weeks of conception, the developing embryo splits into two identical parts. As the embryo splits into two, they still share about 100% of the same genes and are always the same sex. Referencing the same source, they describe the formation of fraternal twins as DZ twins develop when two eggs are released at the same time and are fertilized by two different sperms. These two zygotes are each implanted in the womb and develop at the same time. So fraternal twins share about half of the same genes. It can either be the same sex or the opposite sex. So now I'll show you how they are formed. So here we have the identical twins. You can see the sperm, the egg, and then the one embryo that splits into two, right? Then the other diagram, we have fraternal. So we have the two different eggs and the two different sperms, the two different embryos that they form in, and then they just continue. So that is the diagram of how they are formed. So now that we know the two different types of twins and how they're formed, let's move on to how they're separate people. Most often when twins are growing up, they're bunched together and most seen as like the same person and not as individuals. Chong Se Kwan from positiveparenting.org gives some tips on how to treat your twins as different people. So for example, you can dedicate one-on-one time with them, make an effort to cuddle, talk, or enjoy an activity alone with each child. Your twin will feel that they are being listened to as a person. So doing this gives them the chance to feel like it's just them with their parent having one-on-one time and not being grouped together with their other half. Like it's just them. They can just have all the focus on them. So my boyfriend's a twin, like mentioned before. So his brother Jacob said that growing up, he wished that a lot of special moments were just for him and not shared with his brother. And it does sound selfish, but imagine growing up with like a twin. So you're sharing everything with them, every birthday, every holiday, every like special event. So like what he said, he wished for like graduation, maybe they would have had like separate parties, but their parents, to save time and money, they wanted to bunch it together, which makes sense. But I mean, you're graduating, so you want the attention to be on you, right? So he says he wished that they separated them more when it came to special moments. And Christian, his brother, said that from a young age they were in the same bedroom a lot. They shared a room, so he felt like he wasn't able to just like come home and relax and just like go to his room. He had to go to a room that he shared with his brother, and maybe they would fight over like the TV and like music they wanted to listen to and stuff. So he didn't like that. And then he also said like when it came to toys growing up, they would get opposite toys, so then he would get mad that his brother got something that he didn't get, or just be like vice versa. So he said he wished that his parents got like maybe the same toys to like minimize the fighting. But now I'll show you a picture of them. So Jake is this one, and then Christian, my boyfriend, is this one. They're considered identical twins. As a baby, they were very, very identical. I still have trouble telling who's who, but now I don't. So Jake, as we can see, is a little bit more smaller than Christian, and not to be mean, but Christian does have a bigger head. So Jake doesn't have a bigger head, so like that's another, like, not giveaway, but how you can tell them apart. And then obviously Christian's my boyfriend, so I'm able to tell who he is, and besides from his brother. And as you can tell, they also do have different kinds of suits on, so they didn't want to match, because growing up, their parents always put them in the same kinds of clothes. So they obviously didn't want to do that for prom. So they're in different types of suits. And personality-wise, I think Jake is more very outgoing. He goes to the gym a lot, like 5 times a day if he can. And he talks to a lot of people. He's out there, like he goes up to people, helps them out if they need it. He's just very outgoing. Whereas Christian's more like quiet and to himself. Like if he's talked to, he'll talk back, but he's not one to go out of his way all the time. And yeah, those are the twins that I know and that I've been very familiar with since high school. And yeah, so wrapping up, I just want to say it's pretty amazing how women are able to carry not 1 but 2 babies at a time. And to reiterate, I just want to say that both identical and fraternal twins are babies that are born at the same time to the same mother. Identical twins are formed from 1 embryo that's split into 2, and fraternal are formed by 2 different sperms and 2 different embryos. And lastly, twins are 2 separate individual people and should not be seen as the same just because they're born at the same time and the same day. And in closing, I just like to say that next time you meet twins, maybe think of them as separate people and not as the same. So thank you all for listening.